Hello, this is OverlordBou, back with information video, and today we're here taking a first look at the Ferrante Gonzaga, the newest Tier 9 Italian cruiser to enter testing into World of Warships. Now this ship will be entering testing in 13.10 or 11. It's currently on the PTS for testing. Again, we're going to be talking about the ship stats and its theoretical playstyles, and also how the ship looks. So this is going to be going off of none of any players' experiences with the ship, just going off of our guesses and estimates on ships that are similar to this ship. So starting
Anything
off,
that's publicly info.
yeah, anything that's publicly info, yes. So going off, let's talk about those turrets. Yeah, they look very small for how big this ship is.
hmm That is because those are actually destroyer guns, 135 millimeters. It is a triple turret, but um, it kind of makes the hull look comically big compared to the rest of the ship, or the
Yeah,
turret's comically small.
yeah, it really does. I haven't built anything onto this ship, so let me just do a building a reload real quick for it. So you get the reload down to 7.5 seconds if you take reload in the 6 slot for the modules. A 7.5
hmm
second reload for 135 is kind of a long time for how for a crew for how small the caliber is.
It is slow, but remember, it's Italian, so it's automatically slow because you get both HE and SAP.
That is true. You are correct. Mm-hmm.
And it has 12 guns as opposed to the other ships. I think the destroyers just have 6. Let me double check. Regola has 8. And
Yeah.
let me see what the Adriatico has. Uh, it is 6. So
Mm-hmm.
you have double the turrets of the tier 9 equivalent.
Yep. Yeah, that's not bad of a reload then if you compare it like that. So this ship is definitely a light cruiser for the Italians. As you can see, the armor is 16 millimeters on the upper bow, then 30 on the bottom. At the rear, the ship is also 16. The deck is 16 millimeters on the top. Side plating
Ooh.
armor is 30 millimeters. And if you look at the Citadel, it is 100 millimeters, so you definitely do not want to take battleship salvos or heavy cruiser salvos in this thing. It is...
And worse yet, look how high it is.
Ooh,
Oh.
that is really high. At least it's not as high as, like, the Goliath.
I don't know.
Let me
But
see a
given how
Drake.
high
Let me see a Drake for comparison. Let me look at the Drake real quick. I should have a Drake running around. A Drake. Actually, no. No. Way lower than... No. Drake is actually way lower than it. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a really high citadel on that ship. Oof. Yeah, that's a very high citadel on the Gonzaga. Yeah. Ooh.
and you have negative armor. You only have 16 everywhere else. So, yeah. Just don't get hit. It's simple,
Yeah,
right?
just dodge, dude. Easy. So you do have a base range of 13.4 kilometers. That is not a lot of range on this ship.
But for destroyer level guns, it's probably fine, since trying to hit anything past that is going to be kind of a difficult.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw a quick build on there so I can look at stats real quick. The concealment is going to be really good. Let me
Should
build into
be
it real
8.
quick. Yeah, 8.9. Wow, that is some really good concealment on this ship. For the tier 9, that's really
Uh,
good.
it, if it makes it through testing like that, I think that ends up being like the best, the most concealed cruiser at tier 9. I'll have to double check to make sure
Yeah, that's
though.
really impressive. 8.9 concealment? That's like really good. Yeah, this thing could be a destroyer killer if people aren't
If
careful.
battleship doesn't just accidentally sneeze in her direction.
Yeah, or radar. Radar is also going to be a big threat. So you do get the standard DCP for the Italians. 5-second reload, 60-second cooldown. with a repair party of 190 seconds and then a consumable of 28 seconds. Of course, when you build into it with the Charlie O'Kilo and then the India Delta, you get 240, 28 seconds, and 80-second cooldown. You do get the exhaust smoke, which is active time of 44 seconds, but that cooldown time is 160 seconds. That is painful. You can go down to 148. If you do, you can get down to 140. Wait, can I keep going? So So it's 140 with a 48-second time if you build in the signals as well. Yeah, that is a really long cooldown for smoke.
So I double checked the concealment. It is the second best at tier 9 in its current configuration. Only the Chukuma too is a better detection.
That's actually really impressive.
It is stealthy.
That is a very impressive stealth for this ship. So for the torpedoes, you get 3 torpedo per side with a 120-second reload. So it's a 2-minute reload. Pretty long reload on this ship, unfortunately. 10-kilometer range, so you can stealth torpedo in this ship. Depth charges, you have 6 bombs per charge. And this is a surface depth charge, I'm afraid, and not an aerial one. So that's also painful for this poor ship.
So even if you find a destroyer, if you find the sub, then you actually are going to clench your butt, as some battleship somewhere in the match will target you.
Oh, 100%. So let's look at Let's talk about anti-air first. So you have 5.2 kilometer anti-air. Continuous damage. Okay, so short range anti-air is 25. Medium range is 347. And long range is 39. So if a plane is attacking you between 3.7 kilometers and 2 kilometers, it's going to hurt. But if it's outside of that or within of that,
oh yeah, yes, you're right.
Yeah, because it's different numbers. The long range anti-air is at a certain range, the middle's at the middle, and then the close is close, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so if a CV's within 3.7 and 2, they'll be great. But anything outside of that, you're screwed. Like you ain't doing nothing.
In practice, that means your AA is not really that good. Torpedo bombers will be well in the middle of their attack run, so they'll take reduced damage. Dive bombers, it's where it's most effective because they have to run through your entire AA, so they are gonna hate life.
Yeah.
Rockets, I think rockets start their attack run just slightly inside of it, so they're not in there for long. Not very useful. And then skip bombers just say, Lamau, what's AA?
Yeah, what's AA, dude? We don't know what that is. Crazy. The final thing for anti-air is only 2 flaks in a salvo. Only 2. Yeah, that's
well, it's not like Italian cruisers are known for their AA anyways. You don't even get access to DFAA from what I see here, so, well, it's just par for the Italians at that point.
Yeah, unfortunate. So the final thing we'll talk about for the stats is the maneuverability. It has a 36.8 knot speed with a 600 meter turning radius, which is actually really tight for a tier 9 cruiser.
It's better than most destroyers at that tier.
Yeah, at the hull, we were just talking about that a little bit ago, has a 640 meter turning. Wait, let me double check. Let me just take
680, I think.
Let me just take a quick lookie. It is 680. Wow, it has a tighter turning radius than the hull. That's crazy.
And looking at it in port, the Gonzaga looks like 10 times as wide, 10 times as long as the hull. So, yeah, it has like, I don't know, 70 rudders in there or something.
And it has an 8.9 second rudder shift, so this thing could be really maneuverable with that turning radius. And the
It kind of
turrets
has
are
to be.
also really quick with a 10.9-second reload. Sorry, not reload. Sorry, turret traverse. So we can turn its turrets really quick. So you can just dance and spin and dodge, and be able to not and try to take little damage while you're shooting. Or you can also use the islands as well for cover to shoot this thing. That's actually
Hmm.
really good.
Oh,
I
and
like that
one last thing.
maneuverability.
One last thing. Take a look at the torpedoes.
Yeah, the torpedoes are 10 kilometers, 20,000 damage. That's a lot of damage for torpedoes.
Uh-huh. Italian torps typically don't do much damage. They max out about 1300, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what the Regolo has. Regolo torps are 13,900.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gonzaga is like, yeah, I have close to nuclear torpedoes.
Mm-hmm.
And he can technically stealth torp, although most likely you are not going to.
Yeah. Now, the final thing to talk about for the consumables I forgot to mention, it has an emergency engine power boost for 44 seconds, where it increases it by 20% and has a cooldown of 105 seconds when you build into it. So you go from about 36 knots, add about 20%. That you go about 43 to 44 knots, which is really quick for a tier 9 cruiser. 44,
So
45 knots.
you get to be a French cruiser for about 40 seconds or so.
So you could combine that with the exhaust smoke to potentially rush. You could rush like farm targets as you're going away, or you could use the engine boost to run down destroyer and then use the smoke to back off. You do have a smoke firing penalty of 5 kilometers, which is very short for a cruiser. It's also because the shells are 135 millimeters, very small, which means you're going to have a smaller concealment when shooting. That's very impressive. You also have the same aerial spotting of 5.2 kilometers as your anti-air. Normally, the Italians do not get that kind of bonus. Normally, they're always spotted from space before something until they're spotted from space from aircraft until they can actually hit them with their anti-air. But with this ship, you're able to have your anti-air active as soon as you get spotted by an aircraft, which is really nice. Most Italians, you don't get that benefit. You're going to be spotted and not able to do anything about it. So I'm glad that they finally did that for a Italian cruiser.
On the other hand, okay, he spots you, and now you open up with your AA, and you don't see his health bar go down. So, yeah,
That is
it's
also
not that
true.
much better.
Yeah, and you also get surface depth charges, which is kind of a pain.
Yeah, that's like the worst part about the Italian cruisers. It's like you have SAP, which is amazing against surface submarines, but that requires the submarine to be surfaced. Otherwise, you're crying in a corner because your depth charges don't really do much damage. You don't get many of them, and you have to run them down.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So overall, what do you think about the ship? Like overall, how do you think it looks? Like, do you like it? Like, I like the whole, but the guns, like, they just look so weird on it. Like, they look so puny. Like,
If you look at from the front, so you have the three cutouts for the three barrels. What I
yeah,
don't get is why is everything else open on there? Does it have like four sighting systems or something?
yeah. I'm looking at that. Like, it's really weird for like the opening there. It's like, oh, let's just shoot the front of the turret. Just shoot the front of it. There's no armor there.
hmm As far as looks is concerned, Gonzaga, according to Wargaming, uses a hull very similar to the Duca de Abruzzi, the
Hmm.
Tier 7 Italian light cruiser.
Yeah, that would explain the
So,
light armor.
yep. And instead of the 152 millimeter guns, it uses the Destroyer 135s,
Yep.
which is, well, it is what it is. So it's pretty much why the turrets look like comically small compared to the rest of the ship.
Mm-hmm. So going off of all this information, all these stats, what kind of play style do you think we could kind of like theorize this ship could be? Like like with how small the caliber is, the shells have to be lofty.
Hmm.
875 meters per second. The shells are definitely going to be lofty. So you could place the ship behind an island. You could also use like more open water roll, where you use the engine boost to be able to dodge, or the smoke to disengage. Where if say a battleship or a cruiser shoots, you could then use your smoke to then farm them like while they're still spotted from that. Or if you have a destroyer near you that's spotting, and since this thing has such a great concealment, you could sit behind your destroyer as he moves in, and you, as you saw a lot of Venzia players do, where they will like be creeping behind their destroyer, and as soon as the destroyer spots an enemy destroyer, you just slap it. Which this thing could do really well with that 8.9 kilometer concealment, and the fact it can easily disengage with the exhaust smoke. The main problem though is of course radar. Radar is very prevalent in tier 9 or tier 8 or tier 10 or supers, whatever tier the game is going to put you in. So you have to be very careful of those ships if you do plan on trying to do something like that. Just hold tab, see what's on the enemy team, and you'll be on your way.
Hmm. I pretty much agree with that assessment. To summarize, the guns are pretty much very similar to what you see on the Italian destroyers. The hull, the Citadel sits like tall, proudly above the water line, so you're gonna go bye-bye pretty quickly. Ignore the torpedoes; you're probably not gonna get much use out of them. And the maneuverability is quite solid, and uh, especially with that concealment as well. And if you look at the consumables, it is very, very similar to what the Italian destroyers have. So, given all of that, she seems to be kind of like the light cruiser version of the Italian destroyer playstyle.
Oh, we also forgot to mention the HP pool, which is 40,100 and 16% torpedo protection. And that is with the survivability expert in the skills and with the Charlie Kilo flag in the signal section of the port. I did forget to mention that, the HP pool of the ship.
The HP pool is pretty bad. Like, it's still slightly better than. It's better than, say, Jong, which is not really saying that much. But basically, even for a light cruiser, it's pretty light.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very, very careful. Like, so Ibuki, for example, pretty well known for having a low HP pool.
Yep.
It's still like 5,000 more HP.
Ugh, yeah, that's pretty bad. That is not
Mhm.
good. So you have to definitely be very careful in this ship. But yeah,
Yep.
I totally
And
agree with you 100%.
so, as I said, basically the consumables, the guns, and the hull all seem to point to something very a playstyle that may be very similar to the Italian destroyers.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you have to play super careful because that citadel is extremely easy to hit. Like, if, for example, if there is a stalling rod, he could probably death strike you half the time.
Oh, he could easily.
Hmm. And with those guns, you have both HE and SAP. The HE will only pen 23mm, which is only good for starting fires. The
Mm-hmm.
SAP is better as you can pen 38, but you still have to be picky on what targets and what sections you target. So this might be a very difficult cruiser to play, especially given how unforgiving it is and unconventional the playstyle compared to other cruisers is.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But
And worst of all, you're constantly looking at your own turrets, which is painful to look at times.
yeah, the turrets are like 1 out of 10. They don't really look threatening. Them are just looking cute. I don't know. Just adorable little things. But yep, that is going to be today's video. If you guys have any questions or comments you want to leave on the ship, definitely let us know in the comments down below. But thank y'all for watching, and I will talk to y'all later.